Hello everyone, before we start today's video I have a few things that I want to talk about, so if you don't really care about that you can just skip using the chapters and the YouTube player. So as you may already have noticed, I hope, I have a new microphone, so sound should be better from now on. I also wanted to thank you because the last video that I uploaded around a week ago got more than 500 views, and I think it's pretty good because it was my first non-C programming video, and I uploaded it after a 1 month pause, so I'm pretty proud of that. And I think that I'm going to keep uploading videos once a week. So if I feel good, if everything is right, I will be uploading one video a week. I think I will last until the end of August, and then I'll see what I'm going to do. And if you have any video suggestions, don't hesitate to tell me in the comments. I can do a lot of things actually. I can cover a lot of topics. I can do vanilla web, standard HTML, CSS and JS. I can do Flask with Python. I can also do regular Python without Flask, just Python. I can do obviously C, C++, Go, and I can do videos about Linux as well, I think. So if you want me to cover any of these topics, tell me in the comments, I'll see what I can do. I think for 1000 subscribers, I'm going to do a setup reveal. I'm going to show you my setup because I have a lot of hardware actually, and I think it could be very interesting. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is I have my Discord tag in the description if you want to talk to me privately. I don't think I'm going to have a Discord server because it's very time consuming, and I don't really see why I would need the Discord server, honestly. Maybe if the community grows, I'll make one, but right now I don't think I will. So that's it for the announcements. Now, what I want to show you today is this Go ChatGPT client, which is terminal based. So it's a project that I've been working on for 2 months now. I think it's in a pretty good state. I can make a video about it. It's very feature rich, and I think you're gonna like this. So the first thing you'll need to run this project is an openai API key. So you are going to go to platform.openai.com. So the link is going to be in the description. And here you can see we'll have this default project. So you can create one and just use the default project. I think that when you create an account, we have $5 of credit. So if it's going to be free for you if you didn't already have an OpenAI account. So you create a new project, then you're going to go into this manage project section. And here you're going to see all the projects you have. So mine is a GPT TUI because it's a GPT terminal user interface. And you're going to go into API keys, and here you're going to create a new API key, so you can name it and select the project you want this API key to be used in. So I'm not going to do that because I already have mine. And here you can see in the usage and how much it costs. So here, as you can see, for July I have almost 9,000 tokens and $0 spent. So it's pretty cheap because I use a very cheap model. So if you want to have a smarter model, obviously it's going to cost more money, but the default setup is, in my opinion, really good. So once you clone the repository, you are going to have this. You can open it inside VS Code. So here is the code. It's one single Go file, and you are going to put your API key in a .env file. So here I have a .env, and the name of the variable must be openai _API _key. So the program will look specifically for this variable, so make sure you name it correctly. And before you run the code, you actually need to have this file. So it's gpt_config.toml. So it's a basic config file for the application. So the default configuration is in the README. So if you don't want to type it out, it's here in the README. You can just copy paste this config into this file. So here you have a command prefix, which is just a prefix that is going to be used if you want to run special commands inside of the application. Here you can specify the default history path. If you want to save your conversation, it's going to be saved into this file. Here you can use different models. So GPT-4 is, in my opinion, really good because it's very cheap and provides very good answers. Here is the default system prompts. If you want to modify it, you can. And here is the theme if you want to render Markdown. So you can toggle this option here with, you can just put false and you won't have a Markdown rendering inside the application. But by default, it's on. And here we can have a list of themes because I use this dependency, Glamour, which is used to render Markdown inside the terminal. And here there are a lot of themes, so dark, light, naughty, and Dracula. And you can choose any theme you want, and Tokyo Night as well, I forgot. And you can choose any theme you want, and it will be rendered inside of your terminal. As you can see, it supports syntax highlighting as well, so it's going to be really good if you generate code. And I think you should use this application to generate code because it's why I built it, just to generate very quick code snippets. So once you have this config and this .env file, you can run go mod tidy to download all the dependencies. So I've just done that, so I don't need to rerun it again. And then I can just go run dot. So here, as you can see, you can use the /help command to see all the available commands. So you can manipulate the system prompt, you can embed files, you can save and load history, you can copy the LLM response to your clipboard, you can edit this GPT config file directly from the application using reflection of Go. It's very, very powerful. You can show the help and exit the application. So I have tab autocomplete. So for example, if I want to do /exit, I can just tap /ex and tab, and it will autocomplete to exit. If I just type /e, it will I will be able to choose between /embed and /exit, so I can navigate using the arrow keys. And I use a special dependency to handle input management. So I have up and down command history. I can navigate with the arrow keys as well. And I can also jump at the beginning and the end using command plus arrow keys, so if I want to. If you don't put any / commands at the beginning of your prompt, it's going to send your prompt to the AI. So I'm going to ask the OpenAI model to write naive Python function to get the nth Fibonacci number. So here, as you can see, is the raw response. And I also have a streaming, so the chunks are printed as soon as they arrive. And if you enable Markdown, you will see your code with the syntax highlighting. So here, as you can see, you have a very simple and naive recursive Fibonacci implementation. But if I exit and rerun the app, I can try to ask the AI to use a better approach, and the AI is not going to know what I'm talking about because I don't actually by default save the history. So I can use arrows to get my previous prompt, load it inside of the AI, and use the /save command. So by default, if you don't specify a file path, it's going to be saved to history.json, which is this variable. And you can take a look at this file. It's just a history of your messages with the role, user, and assistant. And here the last message is the LLM response. So once I save this file, I can exit. You don't need to exit, just to showcase what the app can do. And if you run the LLM again, in order to load this file, you can do /load, and it will load the history from the default path. So here's history.json, but you could specify another file with another conversation, and it will load it will load it as well. So now I can use this prompt again, use a better approach, and it will return the best implementation possible for a Fibonacci function, actually, which is just to have two variables, and we swap them, and we store the nth Fibonacci number inside of B and return it. So it's the best one because it's O of n time complexity and O of 1 space complexity, because we don't require any additional array. So if you take a look at /help again, as you can see, you have this /copy command. So I can just /copy, and LLM response is copied to my clipboard. Here, as you can see, I copied the response, and if I just paste it, I will have the full LLM response copied, and I can use this. I can just extract the code, or if I just want to copy paste LLM code, I can ask it not to do any explications, just give me the code. As you can see, it works really well. Yeah, there are a few more commands that I think are really cool. So you can have this /system show or reset. So I also have tab autocomplete for subcommands. So if I type S, tab is going to be show, and R reset. So if I do /system show, it's going to print the default system prompt that is in a config file. And the reset will just reset the system prompt to the default one that's in the config file. Right now it does nothing because the system prompt was not modified. But if you want to add things to the system prompt, you can do /embed a file. I don't have tab autocomplete for files, sadly. So I'm just going to embed main.go, which is the main file of the application. And now I can ask the AI, according to main.go, what does this program do? And it will just know what's inside of main.go. So as you can see, the program is a command line interface for interacting with OpenAI GPT model. And you can see user can input commands to manage configuration, load, history, embed file, etc. So how does this work? Well, you can do /system show. And as you can see, the whole main.go file got pasted into the system prompt. So here at the beginning, it's still the basic system prompt, but here I have this file main.go instruction, and in there is the whole main file. If I want to reset the system prompt, I can do /system reset, and I can ask the same thing to the AI, and here it does not have access to a main.go. As you can see, it works really well. I can also clear with Ctrl L the terminal if the output is too messy. If you take a look at help one more time, there is this command /config, which is, in my opinion, a really cool command, because it will allow you to modify this gpt-config.toml file directly within the application. So it's using Golang's native reflection package, and it's a very, very powerful package. So if I do /config, and I have to put a valid field inside this file, so I can do command prefix. I don't have tab autocomplete, so it's why I copy paste $. So now the command prefix is going to be $, and as you can see, it's modified inside of gpt-config.toml. And now I can do $help. As you can see, I have all the commands starting with $. And /help is not going to work. It's going to send a /help to the AI, so I'm not going to run it. And if I want to revert this, I must use $config, and now the command prefix is /. I can also change the system prompt, render in Markdown, and change the model. So if I disable Markdown, so I can do /config render Markdown false. It has to be a valid Go type, so false is a valid Go keyword. So now Markdown, as you can see, is not going to be rendered. And so I can ask another code question. Write a Python function to check if a word is a palindrome. So it's 2 lines of Python code. As you can see, the response is streamed, but no markdown, just the raw response. And here it's a valid implementation. You just check if the word is equals to itself but reversed, and it's if the case the word is a palindrome. So very, very easy. And if you want to exit, you just do /exit. So that's it for the demonstration. Now we can take a look at the code. So here, as you can see, I have a few dependencies. So this is for managing clipboard, this is for rendering markdown, this is a C library readline which is used to have a command history and arrow navigation. It's a really simple library and very good. This is used to load .env files, this is used to parse toml files, and this is used to interact with the openai API. So here you can change the name of the config file. And here, as you can see, I have some to-dos. I don't know if I'm going to implement them actually. It's just that I put them here because I thought it would be nice to have these features, but they are not very important at the moment. So maybe if you want to add them, you can send a PR and I will check it out. So basically here we have just an array of all the commands with the subcommands and the short description. Here we have a config struct which must map exactly to this config file. So if you want to add a field inside of the struct, you must put it inside of the config file. And here I have a bunch of utility functions to save load history, to build the tab completer. It's a wrapper above readline prefix completer, which is really, really powerful. You should use readline for all your command line tools, and honestly, it's a really good library. So here I have helper functions to load and save the config. And here these functions are used to print align the help, no matter what the commands are. So it's not very important. And here this command just prints the config. So I wanted this app to be very straightforward, so I put everything in the main function. Obviously, if you were to write an actual app used in production, you should not do that. You should have a proper code separation. But here it's a very easy app, so I just figured it would be easier for everybody if I put everything in the main function. So here I just set up a client, the OpenAI client with the API key. I load the config and I create a completer using readline. So here the only readline config. I just specify the prompt, the tab completer I want to use. This is the history file to allow history navigation with the keyboard arrows, and I can interrupt the prompt with Ctrl+C or /exit. And here I just have the main loop, tag the main loop, by the way. Go supports name the main loop, and honestly it's really good. There is no while in Go, just you have to do for, but it's the same thing. It's just going to be a while loop in this case. So here I check if the first line, for the first char of the input line is a command prefix. So if it is, I parse the line as a command, and if it's not, here as you can see, I just send messages to ChatGPT. We'll take a look at this in a moment. So here I just get the args of the command, if any, and here just a basic switch case, and I parse the command here manually. So if it's exit, I just exit the REPL. If it's embed, I try to read the file. If there are not enough arguments, I log an error. And then I read every file. I append them into a string builder. Go string builder is a very powerful tool. You should use it. Honestly, it's really, really good and very performant. And I add everything into the system prompt here. If it's a system, I check if you want to show or reset the system prompt, and I do things accordingly. And here we have save and load commands. So for I put both these commands under the same case, because for the beginning I actually have to read the file in both cases. So here I read a file, and here if you save, I save history, otherwise I load history. The /copy command will call the clipboard library, and just write the LLM response to your clipboard. Config command is the most interesting because it's going to use Golang's native reflection package. So here, as you can see, I use the reflect package, which is standard, by the way. You don't need to install dependencies to get the field and value, and I convert it into a valid Golang type, and then I just loop on every field, and here I just check if they are valid types. So if you have a boolean, I just convert it to string. I try to check if it's true or 1, because in the lower level languages, 1 is true and 0 is false. If it's a string, I just try to copy it to the field, and otherwise I just log an error because this is not the valid type that we have in the config file. And here we log a message if the config is updated or if we have an error. If you write /help, you just print the help, and by default it's just going to log a message saying that the command is invalid. And so this was if you were to write a /command, but if you just write a standard message, I just append your message to the history as a role user. Then I create a messages array with the system prompt, and then I append this messages array to the history. And here I also append the message that we're going to send to the LLM, and create an openai request using stream equals true, because I think it's good to have the response streaming in your terminal. I like it. You can disable this if you want, but it will require a few code changes. And here I'll just create a completion stream, and I have this infinite loop which will receive every chunk of the stream, and this error variable is going to be nil except when the stream is finished. So if we hit an error, that means that the stream is over and we can break out of this loop. I get the chunk, I write this into another string builder, and I print it to the standard output. Then when the loop is over, I just get the full response. I append it to the history as an assistant because it's the response of the LLM. And if your user wants to render Markdown, I use Glamour, which is my dependency to render Markdown. I just render the full response with the theme that's in the config file, and I just print it. And when this is over, I close the stream and I print a new line to have the next prompt on a new line. And that's basically it for this application. If you want to send PRs, you can fork this repo, and I will take a look at every PR that's sent. And again, if you have video ideas, don't hesitate to tell me in the comments. And that's basically it for this video.